I'm back again with quick tip number 2. This info relates to breaking in and practicing with your call. All of the calls that I build are designed to basically run as a 2-reed call. So the only reed that you need to separate when you're practicing and breaking it in is the top reed. So you got your calls under your little towel there. Here's a few calls I've been breaking in. One trick that I like to tell people is these little cocktail swords, I think, make the best reed separator. Now, when I'm practicing at home and doing this type of thing, I'm typically not real patient as far as getting my reeds, my top reeds separated from the other one. When I'm hunting, I just put the call in my mouth 5 minutes ahead of time. Once it gets wet, the top reed automatically separates. It's very important to run these calls with the reeds stuck together, and the only separation you need is just that top reed. So here I'm going to take a call that I'm breaking in. I get it a little bit wet. And then I take that little cocktail sword and I just separate that top reed. That's all I need separated to get the call going to where I'm starting to practice. An important factor to consider when you're practicing is call placement in the mouth. In all the years of experience I've had with working with other people, I would say one of the hardest things for people to overcome is having the call a little too far forward in the mouth. I have a lot of people who want to run that call in the part of their mouth where the roof of your mouth has the hump up in there, and they want to keep the call real far forward. The best place to run a mouth call is back a little farther, where your tongue hits the roof of your mouth when you say the letter K. So if you can say the letter K and hold your tongue in that place and hiss like a cat, go, that is the spot where the call needs to go. Because then you're going to be manipulating the reeds less with the tip of your tongue, and you're going to be actually letting the reeds vibrate naturally in the airflow and not manipulated with the tip of your tongue. The most effective way to practice a mouth call is probably going to annoy the other people in your family and in your house. So it's a good idea to come up with a place or a time where you can separate yourself from others. Because what I'm going to show you on the practicing is kind of similar to when children are first learning how to use their band instruments at school. You're going to be practicing a lot with just the sounds that the little instrument makes. So here we go. Now this is something that I haven't seen anyone else promote, but if you can put the call in, and there's basically 3 levels of sound in a well-built turkey call. You've got a high pitch, you've got a mid-tone, and you've got the rasp. So start making one of those tones and then hold that tone for as long as your lungs can put the air on the call. Now, can you see how that would probably annoy people around you? But what that's doing is, by holding that note and working through any highs or lows or wobbles that you have in that sound, you're subconsciously, your brain is figuring out where your jaw and tongue and mouth are when you introduce the air to the reeds. So here's an example of running a mid-tone or the rasp tone, and just kind of holding that tone. You'll notice that it takes quite a bit of work to get to where you can hold that tone pure and straight the whole time. Some of the calls that you will really get good at when you master those aspects is like the key run. It's very critical to have everything in your mouth positioned correctly when you first introduce the air to the call. So that is where the practice of holding that straight note and getting your brain to remember exactly where everything is going to translate into making better turkey sounds. Now for the cutting, what you want to do is hold that tone of the raspy sound for a while, and then just slowly start cutting that pure sound into shorter pieces. So what's happening is when you're holding that straight note, your jaw and tongue and the air and the tone and everything is where it needs to be to make those shorter, more staccato cutting notes. And you can stop the air or stop the note and start it again, and your brain is going to remember better where everything is. This will increase your confidence with running the call, and you're going to be able to translate the sounds that come out of here into actual turkey sounds a lot easier if you follow this process. So that was quick tip number 2. There's actually quite a bit of information in there, but subscribe to my YouTube channel for future tips. And then also on my YouTube channel, I have actual turkeys making sounds. So once you establish the ability to make those tones on your turkey call, pull up some of those actual real turkeys and just mimic that. That is a great way to practice.